not see you, and to not see you is a pleasure. You might wonder why I'm saying that. Well, if you're looking at your screen, you'll see that it is just an icon, the avatar, or as we know, the Gabatar, saying g'day. And I thought, why not? It is my birthday, so why don't we enjoy the fact that it's Friday 13? Exactly, yes, I was born on Friday the 13th, and it's also Friday the 13th again. This does not happen all the time, as you probably figured out. It happens somewhere around once every 7 to 8 years, I think. Could be 9 years, just given all of the leap years that happen along the way. Um, but since it's not a leap year, and it's Friday the 13th today in February, it also means it'll be that way in March. But it also means it'll be that way in November. So we get three Friday the 13ths in the year that we have a Friday the 13th in February. You might wonder, how do we get three? Well, of course, if it's not a leap year, February has 28 days, which in mathematics terms is 0 mod 7. It means that 7 or, divides 28 perfectly. Clean slice. And so the days in March, at least for the first 28 days, mirror the same days in February. So 1st of February, if it lands on a Monday, for example, then in March it also lands on a Monday. But the funny thing is that we also get these cycles. So by the time we get back to November of the same year, if it's not a leap year, then we also get that same pattern. Isn't that lovely? Well, I guess that explains why our channel analytics are such that it skews 86% male. This is fascinating to me. Mr. Fun Guy, thank you very much for the birthday wishes. I tried to send you a link on Facebook Messenger, but unfortunately that seems to have broken down. I thought you'd left the earth, but it's lovely to see you here again. Um, oh, I'll just tell my fiance I am on live. Join us. Ah, yes, she is aware. Excellent. Not on Facebook. Ah, okay. I'll have to send you emails from time to time. I've stopped emailing the Gab fam much because I didn't want to bother them with so many videos that we were making. But it's a pleasure to see all three of you live. I love statistical analysis. One of the interesting things were that after after 12 years roughly of not having roughly more than 50 YouTube people, something for your mind to eat, fiance. Oh, fiance. Yes, fiance. Are you asking because you're wondering whether I have a fiance or whether you don't know the meaning of fiance? I'm not sure. But either way, yes, my fiance. And what's interesting is that we were gaining about 0 per day. In December, something unusual happened to this channel. I don't know why, but we started gaining about one person per day. By the end of December, it was 5 people a day. By halfway through January, it was 20 people a day. And now it's 80 people a day. And on some days, 100 a day. And we went from 400 subscribers to pretty soon it'll be 3,000. I don't know why this is happening. But I never expected it because we're not talking about, thank you very much, my friend. We are not talking about football or anything viral. And yet there are other people in the world that I guess, find our discussions mutually interesting and beneficial. So it's a pleasure to see you. So looking at these, the vast majority of consumers of this channel are our beloved cousins, brothers and sisters in India. So namaste, sat sri akal if you're from the north and you are of Sikh descent. I don't know the other languages, so I will just say namaste to you. But if you look deeper, you will notice that even though there are other countries that watch a smaller, they make up a smaller part of the audience, they actually engage for much longer. Now, if you look at it, the top is the United States, and you would think, oh, well, it's a Western English speaking country. But then if you look down the list in order of average view duration, you get the Netherlands, Venezuela, Japan, Lebanon, then Australia, followed by Bangladesh and India, and then the UK. And South Korea, which is interesting. So it's fascinating because it's like um, it goes against how you imagine you think your place is in the world, or where your ideas belong, or where they circulate, or what people find interesting or engaging. And it's a beautiful thing to be wrong. Well, that's one of the things I love about exploring, looking at evidence and information. Yeah. And it's a constant reminder that when it rubs up against your intuition, it's it's humbling, because you realize that you can't rely on your intuition exactly. It might be okay, sort of like someone trying to walk in the dark. You can sort of get around, but information, evidence, data is more like the light, and it turns on and off briefly so you can see the path, and it's not often in the exact direction you thought it was. So I find that quite fascinating. United States is by far the highest. It's it's the highest average duration, followed by Netherlands. But Venezuela, I never thought that. I had no idea there was an English-speaking population in Venezuela, and Japan and Lebanon. I knew, because Lebanon, there's quite a lot of English speakers there, because they normally speak English and French first. Arabic is not, contrary to what people think. I know they in Lebanon they forced a lot of the leaders at gunpoint to sign an agreement in 1989 saying that the country was Arabic, but I know a lot of people didn't agree with that, and it was forced upon them. Others found it okay, but that's an interesting topic which I don't get into too much because I don't really want to inflame anybody. Um, but what's interesting is that I mean, the Netherlands are less surprising, but Venezuela and Japan and Lebanon are before Australia, even though I'm actually from Australia. But there's an interesting thing in the Christian New Testament, which is something about a messenger not being accepted in his own country. But that's sort of a bit too self-aggrandizing, because I'm not declaring myself to be anything other than me. Um, but there you go. Even Brazil is on the list. So that's our interesting statistics. Now, the other interesting part was that the vast majority of the audience is actually between 25 and 35. And considering that I turned 45 today, I'm quite honored that there are people in a generation uh, after me that are clearly thinking deeply enough, well beyond their years. So that's actually quite impressive as well. The second largest demographic are 45 to 55. So hello, all my brothers and sisters of the actual proper age, the adult age group, uh, and it's 86% male, as I said before. So I don't know what that is by country. I haven't checked, but it would be interesting to break it down. If we look at the US, by far it's California. 2 point. The average view duration in California is 2 minutes 23, which is I think, what is that? That's about 4 or 5 times above the actual average. And then there's us old folks. Yeah, it's very fascinating. New York is second, and that's about it. So um, that's interesting. It tells me a lot about. I don't know what it tells me, to be honest. I don't know enough about U.S. demographics as to why California necessarily has such a disproportionately higher number of average views, and it's 2.4%. We have 2,095 views in the last few days, and 2.4% were from California, uh, which is just fascinating to me. I don't. I'm assuming, depending on where you're from in the U.S., it'll give you an idea of what that means, considering whatever the California culture is. But then again, we're assuming that the culture is uniform. Um, you think Cali has the most people in the US? Okay, yeah, that's true. But it's interesting because as soon as you move from California to New York, it goes down to zero point 0.7 and then the rest is zero. So I wonder why that's the case. But anyway, interesting stuff. So why is that interesting to me? I find it fascinating to see where ideas resonate. And ideas sort of infect us in a way as humans being the hosts. And as we pass, the ideas continue. And you'll notice when you look at, in a simplified way, you'll see kids on the light rail. Hey, Michigan, hello. You'll see kids on the light rail tell each other jokes that they think are new. And we heard them when we were kids. And I'm thinking to myself, the joke seems new to this child in 2006. And yet the joke was new to me in 1986. And so how old is the joke? And what does it mean for a joke to be old? Does the joke age? Um, or is it, perceived to be new because of the length of time it has inhabited the idea of the person uttering it? Cyclical, yeah, it's interesting. And it sort of gets passed on by hot potatoes. 40 million people. That's like a tenth of the US population. Okay, that makes a lot of sense, I guess. That's assuming that YouTube is watched equally amongst the population. It might very well be that YouTube is something only watched disproportionately by more people in California. Or it could be that the ideas of which we speak resonate more with the Californian population. Or it could be that, there's too many possibilities. That's the issue with statistics, is that the numbers based on the assumption you make can tell you a completely different narrative every single time. And this is amazing because, they'll talk about statistics on typical news media or any sort of information, so-called information media. But the conclusion that one makes is delivered without including the assumptions. And the assumptions, as we try to teach students at university, are more important most of the time than the question with which we're dealing. One example is, if x plus 3 equals 2, then a lot of students in their first year will say, well, x must equal minus 1. But the thing is, you have to make an assumption that a negative number can exist. This is quite interesting because we take that for granted. But there was a time when that was not taken for granted, because how can something negative be a thing? But now we obviously see it as debt or things that you owe, or things when you combine them with positive annihilates. And it's the same thing as you go further up with higher dimensional numbers, 2-dimensional, 4-dimensional. And that type of thinking allows us, damn lies and statistics, one of your favorite books. Yeah, that's a very interesting observation, my friend. Anyway, it's been 13 minutes, and it's a pleasure to have a yarn with you all. I'm preparing for my first ever teaching lesson at university, which is quite interesting. Last year I was a tutor, and now I'm in my second year of the PhD, and they have promoted me to teaching. So fingers crossed it goes well. But it is a bit sad that you get to learn that a lot of people are there. They're still pretty much children, and they are not there necessarily because they have a deep love of purely a deep love of just learning something for its own sake, or understanding the depth of it, which they couldn't. I know myself. I dropped out of uni 3 times before I ended up going back on my third time. And on my third time, I got what you guys call a GPA of something close to 4 out of 4, I think. And I won the executive award. But the thing is, that took my third attempt. Thank you so much, TR Fungi. That's a beautiful comment. And it's a pleasure to have you guys in my life. TR Fungi, for those who don't know, has been a follower from my Periscope channel 12 years ago. 12 years? 10 years ago. I don't even know anymore. Does it even matter? But anyway, at this rate, we may end up with, I think, 20 to 30,000 subscribers by the end of the year, which is beautiful in that there are people around the world who, are not alone. And sometimes we might think that we are, or I do, and then it turns out that that was not the case. All right, all the best. Have a beautiful day/evening wherever you are, and take life, as always, one smack at a time.